Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you from here. I'm Azuka OJ, and please follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. The other day, I tried so much to avoid a discussion about Nnamdi Azikiwe. You call him the Zik of Africa. You know, I've had people say he's not to be regarded among Igbos who are a blessing to Igbo. The same people doing this argument cherished Ojukwu, Achuzia, Nzogu, Okpara, and others. Well, an elder told me only our generation may not understand the role of Zik, really. I had it built the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and some other key institutions, and he did several things for Igbo, you know. But I'm not really a fan of Zik. I see him more like a Pan-Africanist. He's looking at a very big picture, something beyond his Igbo race. I heard he wants to build a political party that is close to that of the South Africa. Is it NCNC, the highest party? So he's more concerned about the bigger things, and that is why many of our Igbo people really didn't fancy him that much. Please, no disrespect to Zik or the dead, but I'm feeling the Yorubas cherished Awolowo more than we Igbos do to Zik. And I know lots of Igbo agree with me on this. Some disliked him for his role during the Civil War and even prior to and afterwards. Now, if the following is correct about Zik, then I want to register my displeasure. Let me not say I hate him, but I feel sad for what he did and would approve Awolowo for doing the opposite. Now, look at this headline of an article I came in contact with some while ago. Please correct this article or me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying this as final, but for the sake of learning, please, I stand to be corrected. This material I'm going to read, we stand to be corrected if you think something did not go as I read. Awolowo asked for secession clause. This is what Zik said. An interview granted by Nnamdi Azikiwe in 1975. Let me read this material for us. He said Awolowo was saying, Zik said Awolowo asked for secession clause. Why didn't Zik? Nnamdi Azikiwe stated that when the 1994 Constitution Conference started, my good friend, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, tabled a motion to the effect that in the new constitution, provision should be made that any state which feels like seceding should do so. I was opposed to it, and I said no. And I said that once we have a federation, we are indivisible and perpetual. Could you imagine that? If this was truly coming from Zik? Now let's read further. I said that was when we began to use the expression, the indivisibility and perpetuity of the federation, and that to secede would amount to treason, and so a debate ensued. Could you imagine? The Secretary of State then was Oliver Littleton, later Lord Chandos, and he was very much interested, and that was his first time in saying that the people of African descent were people actually debating at a high level. So a full day was given to Chief Awolowo to make his points. He spoke brilliantly as a lawyer. He made his points why secession should be incorporated in the Constitution. He cited the case of the Soviet Union, which is a federation, and that secession is written there so that any state in the Soviet Union can secede at will. He also cited the case of Western Australia, and eventually he finished his case and was applauded. And I think that made sense. Awolowo made sense with that, if this happened like stated. Lord Chandos said that on the face of arguments before him, it will be suicidal to incorporate secession in our constitution, and that is why we have section 86 in our constitution that if any region or state should secede, then it will be an act of treason. Zik was saying, this was according to Zik, report by Zeke. Please disprove it if you think it's wrong. He went on, he said, we adjourned. The next day, I had to reply. I availed myself of the opportunity to, demolish the arguments of my friend. And I cited the case of United States, which based its constitution on the Swiss Confederation. And I cited the case of United States, which based the constitution on that of the Swiss Confederation. That is Switzerland. I pointed out a case, I think that of the Texas versus White, where Mr. Salmon Chase, the Chief Justice, laid down the principle. He was really an arbiter, that the union was intended to be perpetual and indivisible, and that any attempt to divide the union by secession was treasonable. Really? Was that the case in US? Is that the case in US? Please add your comment, tell us. We want to discuss seriously this topic. He went on, and also read why Awolowo did not make West secede. Now let's go. At the North NPC supported action group, the question was then, should we have secession? The colonial office came to our rescue. You know the usual principle of Britain, divide and rule, laughs. But this time, it was in our favor, so the colonial office backed us. Lord Chandos said that on the face of the argument before him, it will be suicidal to incorporate secession in our constitution. And that is why we have section 86. The article I just read was said to have come from Zeke. Now, if you think this article is wrong, it's not coming from Zeke, please add your comment on the comment section of this video. Tell us what you think. But if truly Zeke is against adding secession clause in the Constitution, this again would make people like me register my displeasure with Zeke. When Awolowo move for it, and you know, when you see what is happening in Nigeria today, the way Nigeria is being ruled or governed, you would have, the next thing that will come to your mind is, they should have added secession clause to it. Do you understand? They should have allowed any region that wants to live peacefully. Going by the look of things now, anybody who sees this, any Igbo man who sees this, and if actually this is true, that Zeke was against secession and Awolowo wanted secession clause, and this would have been in a peaceful way, I would applaud Awolowo. And it would have helped us. First of all, we are not one people. We have different traits, character. We were forcefully merged. It is a concussion. And if it is not working, the best solution is dismantle it. So if Zeke again, you know, a lot of our generation did not really fancy him, just like I said in the beginning, because of his stance. We've seen certain, we were not there during the war, but we had certain things. He was opposed to Biafra. They said he even went on campaigning against, that is what we had. Please, elders here, people who are very knowledgeable in history, I stand to be corrected. This is open for deliberations. Tell me if I am wrong, and tell me if the article was wrong. Awolowo was asking for a secession clause on the Constitution. Zeke was opposed to it. Any young one that sees this again, any young Igbo, would not regard Zeke that much, because majority of our Igbos, especially the young ones, they prefer secession. And not just them. A lot of people have seen that it is not working. There is so much hatred. A lot of people want secession. And if there is a secession clause in our Constitution, it would have been easier The next thing they just do, okay, organize a referendum for them. If more people are saying let's go, they will go. It will be so easy, no war. So when you hear again that Zeke opposed something like this, would you like him? Despite the fact they said he built institution, he did well. You know, I used to ask these people, what exactly did Zeke do? How did he place Igbo that we don't know? Please help us. Add your comment, tell us what you think. I am not a fan of Zeke, but I respect him.